All right, so you've arrived at the conference, you've done a lot of practicing at home, you feel like you're ready to go. Now, of course, you're still gonna have a lot of butterflies. The first time that I went to my first conference, it was very nerve wracking. One of the things that I've learned is that it's a really good idea to find your room, like the exact room you'll be presenting in, and ideally find a time when there's nobody in that room and just do another dry run like you did at your house in that exact room. I mean, I can't even tell you how helpful that is because that way you can really just picture yourself. And so that's really helped me to try and find a time when the room was not occupied and just go in there and practice my presentation out loud. Probably even the day before. So that's a really good tip. Now, something else that I actually did on my very first conference back in 2007, which was very much outside my comfort zone, was to walk up to strangers and introduce myself. Back in 2007, this was a very nerve-wracking experience, but the prospect of speaking to 100 strangers on stage was more nerve-wracking. So I figured what I would do is I would go up to people at the conference, I would introduce myself, and then ask them if they had any plans on Wednesday afternoon. I mean, it just so happened that I was slated to speak as the very last presenter of the conference, so that made for 4 days of anxiety. But this tactic of introducing myself to people and then inviting them to my talk actually worked out really well because I had about 20 people show up and I literally felt like I could make eye contact with some of those 20 people. And so it's as if I was talking to friends. I mean, that really helped. Now, something else that really helped me during my first presentation was the fact that my lead, Denise Langlis, was actually kind enough to co-author the whole thing with me. So that's something else that I should have mentioned, that if you get an opportunity to partner up with somebody that's done it before, that's really a great thing to do. Like, I know currently where I am in my career, I'm very happy to do so with others that reach out to me and ask, because I remember how I used to be in their shoes. So if you can partner up with somebody, it makes it easier. In my case, I just remember her introducing me, introducing our talk, and then saying, okay, Alex is going to tell you the rest of the details, and off I went. So that was helpful. Arriving early. I think it goes without saying you want to get to your room a little early. If it means breaking out of the conference talk you're attending prior to yours, then so be it. So definitely a good idea to arrive early. And something else that I didn't do before but can certainly do now is that prior to attending the conference, so I already mentioned introducing yourself and talking to people at the conference, but something else you can do is you can actually find the agenda typically gets published ahead of time so you could see who else is presenting. And if you find maybe topics that are of interest to you, you can reach out to the authors. Personally, I like using LinkedIn. And so I reach out to the authors and kind of get a conversation going beforehand. So again, that way it's another opportunity to meet people, albeit virtually. But again, the more people you can meet ahead of time, such that you have at least some semblance of feeling like you know them by the time your talk rolls around, the much more helpful and easier it will be. And something else that I've been doing as of late, which I don't really recommend for somebody that's doing this for the first time in terms of speaking, is observing others. I mean, it's all well and good to observe others, but if you're about to make your presentation, that's probably not the time to incorporate new lessons learned. I mean, so again, it's one thing to observe people at a conference and then next time you practice to incorporate some of those things. But so again, those are all tips that I think you'll find very useful. So go to it and try them out.